Welcome back to Legends with Derka, where the biggest baguette yet has just sailed into the game. Welcome, the Tier 8 Premium French Battleship, Republique. Let's go check her out. So, this Tier 10 PC battleship has made it into Legends at Tier 8. This is definitely the biggest, baddest French battleship we have currently in the game. Before we break her down, let's look at our match. We're on Shatter, several DDs on the enemy team, and we spawned on the side that's almost always usually overloaded with 5 or 6 ships, so that is why we are kind of pointing our bow out. That, and it's really Republique's playstyle. We're going to talk about that a little bit. She's like a middle to long range sniper battleship, and our build is going to echo that. We are using aiming systems, propulsion, concealment, and main battery mod 3. Now, commander-wise, I think you could use a couple choices, but my number one pick was Jojo with Revel and Revel and Scharnhorst. Those are my current inspirations. After some more testing, I might change them around a little bit. Revel, great just to reduce your reload, get more DPM out. And then Revel and Scharnhorst I actually picked over Cunningham. The shell grouping is pretty good, actually, but she does suffer from French dispersion, which is the really wide horizontal spread that you get a lot with Richelieu, Jean Bart, and some of the other French battleships. So I was thinking Revel and Scharnhorst might clean that up a little bit. Now, if you're a free-to-play player, Cunningham or even the new Italian BB commander R&eacute could be good choices to help your sniping out a little bit. Or throw on Guiprat for a speedy meme build. Or possibly Kondo to make the ship a little more stealthy. Anyways, let's break down the statistics of the ship a little bit so you guys can get a sense of how Republique stands up to the competition. Now, currently in the game, there are only 5 Tier 8 battleships, and I'm sure you're familiar with what they are. So, Republique. Survivability-wise, it's a respectable HP pool, 76k. Now, on my build, Jojo, we are using Megalomaniac, which is the special French battleship perk. And with this, even though you get a lot faster reload, you're going to lose 4k health, and that drops us about to 72,000, which is really in Tier 7 battleship territory, really. Now, you do get 3 heals. They're good for about 10k a piece, and that's going to give you an effective health rating of around 106,000. Not bad. Moving on to the armor, it's not the most robust. Basically, you're wrapped in 32 millimeters of armor, so you're going to be pretty susceptible to HE spam, not going to shatter a lot on your deck like you would in some of the other battleships. You have a large superstructure, can be farmed. You do have a turtleback armor scheme, which is nice. If you ever get into a brawling situation, you can kind of get saved there. And the Citadel is just slightly above the waterline. The guns, though, they are amazing. 18 kilometers is the base range, 23-second base reload, and a very unique caliber, 431 millimeters. That's just under 17 inches. Now, the caliber is bigger, sure, but it doesn't offer a whole lot in the way of significant overmatch potential. Anything with 32 millimeters can still bounce you, and that is all of the Tier 7 and up battleships. A lot of the cruisers are now getting blessed with this 32 millimeter bow. Alaska, Stalingrad, Colbert, Worcester. The 431 millimeters, it does give you the ability to overmatch 30 millimeters of armor, so Edinburgh's should beware, but that's about all that I saw that would be significant. Now, as I have it figured, Republique is going to be the highest DPM battleship currently at Tier 8. And I should have said this before, but all of these battleships, the Maine, the FDG, the Izumo, and the Sovetsky, I don't actually own all of them, so all of the statistics here should be base statistics. Anyways, still, DPM, it's the best. As I see it though, this isn't a battleship where you have to stick to armor piercing solely. The reload is quick enough you can definitely spam HE at bow in battleships. The fire chance, it's ridiculous, 48%, so you can set some serious fires. Especially with Megalomaniac and Revel, the reload will be hanging around 20 seconds. The AA firepower, no slouch. DPM is 465, which is respectable, and I'm sorry I can't really compare this to the other BBs. Unless you have the hull upgrade, it doesn't show the upgraded AA stats. So most of the ships, Maine, not Maine, FDG Izumo, and the Sovetsky have really low AA ratings with the stock hull. Speed, 30 knots. This is basically the standard for tier 8 battleships, it would seem, but you do get that French speed boost. 8%, and it's gonna last 3 whole minutes. Throw on a flag and be cruising around at 33 knots. Now the turning circle and the rudder were a little bit disappointing. Not much of a sports car, this one. She handles worse than a Vladivostok, so think about that for a minute. Absolutely huge turning circle. Third worst in the game, I think, unless I'm missing something. Stalingrad, 1130, GK, 1050 meters, and now the Republique, 980 meters. With the Concealment module, the Concealment's okay, 13.8. Megalomaniac, like mentioned earlier, is a really cool perk. You're going to disappear after firing your guns about 20% faster. So if you buffed into this with like a high level condo as an inspiration, you could have a pretty good disappearing battleship if you're playing at range. So I don't know, something to try out. I haven't really done much into the whole concealment meta with battleships, but I would definitely recommend the Concealment module over target acquisition, that's for sure. Now, like mentioned earlier, she's going to play as a high-speed flanking ship or a sniper. Like we showed, the armor and the health pool, they're not exactly that robust, so keeping enemy ships at a distance could be a good strategy in staying alive. Now, I did mention the French dispersion. The Sigma, however, is pretty good, 2.0. So in the dispersion ellipse, which is large, you're going to get decent grouping though. Hence, Revel and Scharnhorst, like I mentioned earlier, to kind of make that dispersion ellipse smaller. And since you stuck with me this far in the video, I'll share some insider information with you about the Tier 8 battleships. As Sigma goes, or shell grouping in our game, Republique is the best, tied with Izumo. Maine is next, 1.85, which is the same as Montana, by the way. The Gross Fred, 1.8, and finally Sovetsky, 1.7. Checking in on this game, this Bismarck was pushing pretty aggressively, so this is the best way to counter that. The rear firing angle's pretty good, as you can see. On the PC version of the game, this ship had some pretty great secondaries, and here I didn't really look into them that much, but their range isn't enough that I would ever want to spec into. But you guys can let me know in the comment section down below if you have a secondary built Republique and how it does. I would love to hear about it. So I wouldn't say she's the best battleship at pushing. The maneuverability is very, very bad, and again, with the HP pool and the armor, you're just not that robust. The turtleback can keep you safe in a brawl, so if you're rushing or fighting against an isolated battleship like we are here, and you think you can outskill them or just outfight them, sure, you could push in that scenario, but I would be careful. The 32mm plating, I keep coming back to that. Think of a Des Moines. That should be the thing you should fear the most. Her 203mm guns will eat you alive. They can literally deal damage anywhere on your ship with the high explosive shells. On top of that, you're also going to be very susceptible to things like Yamato and the eventual Musashi, as they can overmatch you anywhere. Overall gameplay style, I would use the speed to flank, or hey, if you spawn in the middle, take up a sniping position, use the prop mod to bait ships, and avoid shots while hunting for cruisers and broadside opportunities. Overall, guys, I feel a little light on my knowledge of Tier 8 battleships since they have been out for less than 12 hours as of the making of this video. I've played Maine a little bit, she's kind of fun, but I haven't got to delve into the others yet. After this video's over, I'm going to go test them out. But Republique, I think, is a solid battleship at the tier with a pretty unique playstyle, and you guys know how I feel about unique ships. It's kind of like she's a hybrid between Montana and Yamato, a little more punchy guns than Montana, but a faster reload, and then also the top speed that's pretty good in the AA performance of Montana. Overall, right now, I think we're all going to want a Tier 8 premium ship, so I see this absolutely being worth the 2,500 doubloons for the ship. Yeah. Have you guys been testing out the Tier 8 battleships? If so, let me know in the comment section down below which one you think is the king as of now. It sounds like, from what I'm hearing, the Fred might be the weakest, possibly, maybe the Izumo after that, and then the Maine, and then the Sovetsky Soyuz might be the king of the tech trees right now. But I might be wrong. Let me know what you guys think. On that note, I would appreciate you smashing the like button. It'll only take a second and will help me out a ton. Anyways, I appreciate the support as always, guys. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out as we cover these other Tier 8 ships. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.